Hello, and welcome back to Spacer Laces. I'm your host, Jeff Meyer. I hope all the followers of Southbound Sports and all the followers of Spacer Laces had a happy holidays. Hope they enjoyed their time off from work, cherished their time with their families, and just had a great holiday. But today, first, we're going to kick it off with the college football playoffs. The Georgia Oklahoma game was a lot of fun. Not sure if everyone saw it. Man, that was a hell of a game. Double OT in a semifinal playoff game. There's not much more you can ask for. Now the Alabama Clemson game, I had trouble watching it. I was bored. I was ended up talking more, during the game than actually watching. Talking with friends. I watched the game at my buddy's house, but the Georgia Oklahoma game, there wasn't much talking. There's a lot of people intently watching that game. A lot of fun. Bulldogs end up pulling it out. I'm a big supporter of the Georgia Bulldogs, so I'm glad to see them in the national championship playing Alabama. The only bad thing is I think this national championship is going to be boring. I saw that they already have an early line that Bama is minus 3.5. The over-under is 45 for the game. I'm going to be betting on Georgia plus 3.5. I like their odds against Alabama. It sucks that this is going to be essentially an SEC championship game for the national championship. I'm not happy about that at all. I wanted I wanted to see Georgia Clemson. Honestly, I'm tired of Alabama. I know Clemson's been in the last couple years too, but I'm just sick of Nick Saban and Alabama. Just stale, dry. They don't play anyone during the regular season. They shouldn't even been in the playoffs. A lot of people, feel. I think they were the better team than Ohio State, and I mean, very. They made the national championship, so you'd have to say they're probably a better team than Ohio State. But Ohio State put it on USC, embarrassed them, got on them early, got on them often. I believe Ohio State beat USC 24-7, something in that ballpark. But I don't know. I'm just sick of Alabama. I'm sick of it, but I'm happy Georgia's in the national championship. Honestly, I was thinking about this. The Georgia-Oklahoma game would have been a hell of a national championship. Going to double OT, the blocked field goal in that double OT, and then the eventual touchdown run by Georgia. But that was a hell of a game. But I'm not going to lie. Early in the game, I was scared for Georgia. The way that Oklahoma came out, 3 straight possessions, scored touchdowns in each of them, 4 possession kicked a field goal. It looked like an onslaught. I thought Oklahoma, they came out blazing. I thought they were going to just blow Georgia right out of the water. But Georgia made some plays in the first half. They went into halftime, made necessary adjustments. Kirby Smart did a great job with that. Georgia head coach. They just made the necessary changes and end up being on top. But I think it's very important to note the deciding factor in this game. I don't think it was necessary, like the adjustments, which obviously helped. They made the necessary adjustments to win the game. Obviously, big part. Don't want to undermine that. But the play in series of events that won the game was right before halftime. Oklahoma kicking off to Georgia. They scored a touchdown. I believe they put them up 17 points, if I remember correctly, from this weekend. Put them up 17, scored right before halftime, and they squib kicked it, and they muffed it. They just fucked it up. That's all you can say. They messed it up. Georgia got the ball with great field position. I think there was like 11 seconds on the clock, a little fuzzy on the details with that. There wasn't much time. It might have even been like 6 seconds. I think it might have been 6 seconds because I couldn't believe with the series of events how it played out. But anyway, long story short, got the ball, great field position, got into a situation with, I believe it was like 2 seconds left on the clock where they were able to attempt a 55-yard field goal. And a lot of people, it doesn't sound like much, but for a college kicker, let's just say this, it ended up being a Rose Bowl record. The kicker for Georgia banged it through, and listen, he had some more distance on that. He destroyed that kick. I thought it was interesting, before the kick even happened, they always, talk to like the field staff before the game or the kicking coach. I can't remember who it was, but they mentioned how they felt like he was good for 54. Well, after that kick at the end of half, that probably would have made it from 60. He got all of that ball. And that was the momentum swing. They're down 17. They closed it to 14. Starting the third half, stopped. Oklahoma got the ball too, which is scary. Like, that change in momentum from being down 17 with Oklahoma getting the ball, the chance to add more points, to how it played out, cutting the lead to 14, stopping Oklahoma on their next possession, changed the momentum so much in the game, and I think that was the deciding series of events that led Georgia with the ability to come back and win the game. Also, Baker Mayfield, I thought he played great. People were talking a lot of shit, calling them pretenders, all that. Oklahoma came to play, balled out. I think they didn't do enough in the second half. Obviously, they lost the game, but I thought he played really well. I did notice, though, he took that weird, awkward hit. Was like, I don't really want to call it a hit. It was more of a guy jumping on the pile, which I thought was going to be a 15-yard penalty. They didn't call it. They said that the defensive lineman for Georgia was pushed into him. I didn't see it, but he landed on Baker Mayfield hard. Looked like he kneed him right in the back. And Baker Mayfield, in my opinion, wasn't quite the same the rest of the game. I don't know if he injured his lower back. I mean, this is all speculation, but he just didn't look right. He didn't look quite the same as he came out playing in the first half. And not to knock Baker Mayfield in any way, I thought he played great. I thought he, made a lot of plays. Didn't look scared of the big moment, in my opinion. Was composed, made a lot of great plays, but just wasn't enough. Georgia, they wanted it more, and sometimes it just boils down to that: who wants it more, and who's going to make the bigger plays at the end of the game. And Georgia did that. So shout out to Georgia Bulldogs. They'll be playing Alabama. I guess I mentioned earlier, Alabama's a 3.5-point favorite at the start of the game, but I'm going to be betting on Georgia plus 3.5 and the under. I don't see this being a high-scoring affair. Georgia and Alabama both have solid defenses. Nick Saban and Kirby Smart are going to have both teams ready to play. Kirby Smart was an assistant coach under Nick Saban, so they both know each other very well. Both teams will be ready to play. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring affair, like I said. I'm going to take the under 45 points. I just hope that Georgia has enough. I don't know. I just don't understand. Alabama's so talented, so good. Their quarterback is trash. I always forget his name. I don't want to butcher it on the podcast. But he's just been just good enough for him to make for Alabama to be where they are in the situation in the national championship. I don't think he's a good player. Definitely not an NFL caliber player. Now Baker Mayfield, getting back to him, I have mixed opinions about him. I really don't know what he's going to do in the NFL. I keep seeing flashes of Johnny Manziel, and my friend made a really good point this weekend when we were watching the game. He said he has just enough Johnny Manziel in him, not too much. And I thought that was a really interesting point because Baker Mayfield is very, very boisterous. He's polarizing. He's definitely passionate, goes after it, blaze it all on the field. You got to love those characteristics. But he's not the party animal that Johnny Manziel was. He wasn't like the off-field liability that Johnny Manziel was, especially in college. You saw Johnny at multiple parties, drinking, boozing, partying hard. I've not seen any of that of Baker Mayfield. Maybe he's done a better job of keeping it under wraps, but I believe that he is mature enough to do well in the NFL. It just depends on the situation, what team he goes to, what kind of offense, different things like that. I think it's more concerned which kind of offense he gets into. But a lot of people were not happy with his, gesture where he grabbed his junk and all that stuff. Yeah, it was a little too much over the top. Don't want to see it, but hey, he's fiery. That's one thing that's so interesting. You look at different quarterbacks. It just depends how the media wants to portray someone. Because Tom Brady, in the media's eyes, one of the best quarterbacks ever. I do believe that too, one of the best quarterbacks ever. But dude, he's been a fiery asshole his entire career. Talks shit, gets in fights with the offensive coordinator on the sidelines, yelling at players, screaming, going crazy. If Cam Newton or someone did that, or Johnny Manziel, I don't, just to name a couple examples, I'm thinking even Phillip Rivers often gets labeled as a passionate guy like Tom Brady does, but even him sometimes gets a little the crybaby thing. Eli Manning, but it's just interesting how the media portrays them because Tom Brady can do no wrong. He's passionate, wants to win, plays it all on the field. Then you got other players they do anything to protect. So Baker Mayfield's interesting because sometimes they media protects him, sometimes they go after him. Obviously, me personally, when I played, I wouldn't be grabbing my junk, bringing that much attention to myself on the sideline. This is not wasn't my style. That's not the type of person I am. But if you're a coach, you ought to like fire. That's one thing I thought was interesting. I think it was in the game or the pregame of the Georgia Oklahoma game. Some announcer said that one of his coaches, or I forget exactly what was mentioned, but it was basically like, when you have a player, it's really hard to light a fire in them. So you want a player that has fire. You can always tame the fire. So I think that's a pretty good analogy for Baker Mayfield. You see he has fire, but so you got to put him in an organization in the NFL, a coaching staff, an offense where you can bring out all his great attributes, but also you can kind of tame his shenanigans, let's say. But I think Baker Mayfield has a shot of being good. I just have, like I said, mixed opinions. I see a lot of Johnny Manziel as far as attitude, but I think my friend put it greatly that he has just enough. I think he has more arm talent coming out of college than Johnny Manziel had. Obviously, that's very, very important for the NFL. Looks like he goes through his progression very well. At least I noticed that in the Georgia game. He wasn't just locking onto a target and going after him. He go through his progression, find the open guy. Those are great things that NFL scouts want to see. One thing is, I don't think he's quite as athletic as Johnny Manziel, but I think he's a better overall quarterback than Johnny was coming out of college. Both won the Heisman, but I don't know. It's gonna be fun. I just don't want to see him go to Cleveland because that's where quarterbacks go to end their careers. But talking about Cleveland, DeShone Kizer had a decent year. I mean, it's so weird to say decent year considering they went 0-16. But I every time I saw him this year play, he impressed me. I thought he did well. Obviously, he has a lot of room to grow, but as a rookie quarterback on the worst team in football in the NFL, that's all off to him. He hung in there, played pretty well. Had rough spots, obviously rookie and all that. But the Browns, congrats guys, went 0-16. Playing, being a member of the AFC North, where the AFC North wins Super Bowls in the Steelers and Ravens. It's rough going 0-16. But the Steelers beat the Browns last game of the year to finish the deal off with the 0-16 season for Cleveland. But I don't know. It's interesting. The Steelers obviously sat Ben, so we're looking to the playoffs now. Ben's going to be playing. This looks like they're going to be playing the Jaguars, in my opinion. So you have the Jags and Bills. The Jags are 3 seeds. So I'll run through the seeds real quick, just so everyone, you haven't had a chance to see yet the standings. The Patriots are the 1 seed. The Steelers are the 2. Jags 3. 4 is Kansas City. 5 Tennessee. 6 Bills. And then the NFC, you have Philly 1, 2 Vikings, 3 Rams, 4 Saints, 5 Panthers, and 6 Falcons. So I think it's kind of interesting. I want to state now, I'm going to kind of call myself out. Before the season, I had the Steelers and the Packers in the Super Bowl. Obviously, that Super Bowl will not have happened considering the Packers didn't make the playoffs. But looking through my NFC picks, ooh, man, I had a rough go of it in the NFC for beginning of the year. This was my predictions for the NFC before the year. Now, I think the Packers would have ended up being the number 1 overall seed if Aaron Rodgers wouldn't have got hurt, but that's football, he did. So I had the Packers 1, Falcons 2, Giants 3. Didn't foresee everything happen with the Giants like it did. Odell Beckham getting hurt, the whole Eli Manning debacle, Ben McAdoo or whatever the hell his name is. Didn't foresee any of that. Carson Palmer got hurt for the Cards. I had them at 4. Seahawks 5, Cowboys 6. Seahawks just missed the playoffs. And the Cowboys, I didn't, before the season, that was before the Zeke suspension and all that. So as much as I'm talking shit on myself, there is some reasons there. The only one I really, really fucked up on, though, is the Giants. That was a bad pick. That was a really bad pick. I had them winning the NFC East. Embarrassing. Didn't foresee the Eagles being as good as they were. But yeah, that was bad. And the only one in the NFC that I picked that made the playoffs was the Falcons. Got a rough go of it in the NFC. The AFC, though, on the other hand, did very well. So for the season, I had the Patriots 1, Steelers 2. both happened. I had the Raiders at 3. The Raiders fell apart. And I had Titans 4, Chiefs 5, Ravens 6. So if the Bengals didn't beat the Ravens in Week 17 like they did, Ravens would have stuck in there at the 6th seed over the Bills. The only team I would have missed in the AFC, I had the Raiders over the Jaguars, but obviously Bengals and Tyler Boyd, my pit boy, beating the Ravens, knocked the Ravens out and put the Bills in for the first time since like 1998 or something like that. I know I don't have that stat right, but it's been a long damn time since the Bills have been in the playoffs, so good for them. I would love to see them to beat the Jags and then get a rematch with the Patriots. I would love to see the Bills play the Pats. I think the Pats will still win, but Buffalo's played them tough both times this year, so I'd love to see it. Because going through my predictions now, so that was my preseason predictions. I had the Steelers, Packers in the Super Bowl. I'm going to go through my predictions now before the playoffs start, see if I do any better without all the injuries. So in the AFC, I have the Jags, Bills playing. Obviously, I don't have, everyone has them playing, so they are playing. Sorry. Jags, Bills are playing. KC and Tennessee are playing. I'm going to have the Jags beating the Bills and KC beating Tennessee. That means the Patriots will then have Kansas City because they're the lower seed. The Steelers will have the rematch at Heinz Field against the Jaguars, 2 versus 3. Now, one thing you guys are going to rip on me, listen to this, I basically have all the higher seeds winning, which, is not the best, but at least in the first round, in the wild card rounds. But I don't know. This is what I see happening. But continuing on with the AFC, I have the Patriots beating Kansas City. I have the Steelers beating the Jags. So I have a rematch in the AFC Championship, again at Foxborough, because the Patriots are number 1 seed overall. Steelers and the Patriots. I have the Patriots winning this year. As long as AB can come back healthy for that game. And healthy's, that's such a subjective word. What is healthy? But if he can come back and play at a level that he can actually contribute, I don't know what that level is, but if he can contribute and help out the team, I think they have a great shot of winning. Looking at what the Steelers have right now, Bell's been playing out of his mind. Bell was named the AFC Offensive Player of the Month of December. I'm sporting it right now, Le'Veon Bell jersey. Got it for Christmas, Color Rush jersey. Big fan of Bell. They better extend his contract. I hope they don't franchise tag him again this year. The Steelers have the ability to do that. I hope they give him a contract that he deserves. Lock down Bell. They already locked down Brown. You don't know how many more years Ben's going to play, so lock him down. Juju Smith-Schuster, you have him for 3 more years. I believe the rookie contracts are 4 years now. I don't know what they're going to do with Martavis Bryant, but looking like he's starting to become a player again, being a part of the team. That's all good things you want to see, because right now the Steelers have a hell of a receiving core. They have weapons on offense. Offensive line's pretty good. The only thing is I don't know how long Ben's going to play, but as long as Ben is playing, they have a shot year in and year out to make the Super Bowl. When you have a quarterback in the NFL, you have a chance to win games. And that's very prevalent with Jimmy Garoppolo, what he's doing with the 49ers. He is 7-0 as a starter in the NFL. He's now 5-0 with the 49ers. He's winning games. I think the Patriots are going to regret this in a couple years. And I understand when they did it. You have Tom Brady. You still have him in a Super Bowl window. He'll win maybe one this year, maybe a couple more before he retires. I don't know how you get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. I feel like in this move, it's like the 49ers did, years ago. They let Montana go, and they had Steve Young. I feel like that's what the Patriots should have done. They should have kept Tom Brady through this year, hopefully win a Super Bowl, and then part ways. Because someone would have paid big money for Tom Brady. There's no doubt about it. They would have made an offer for the Patriots that would have been pretty nice. So I know I went on a ramble there, but Patriots, I don't think you let go of him. I think Bill Belichick in a few years is going to regret that decision. But continuing on with my picks for the playoffs, I have the Steelers making the Super Bowl, just like before the season. I like the Steelers, like their chances, playing pretty good defense. It's going to hurt. Obviously, they don't have Shazier since his horrific injury. I don't really know any updates to his situation. Hopefully, AB is okay, but I still like the Steelers' chances. I really do. I'm really biased. I'm a Pittsburgh guy, but I like their chances in the playoffs. Then looking at the NFC, I already ran through all the picks, or excuse me, all the their standings. But the first game we Rams Falcons and Saints Panthers are the other wild card game. Now, honestly, I truly believe that the winner of the Rams and Falcons are going to make the Super Bowl. Right now, they're the best two teams. If you look at Philly, they don't have Carson Wentz. I'm not afraid of Nick Foles. Sorry, Nick Foles. Don't think you're a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. And the Vikings, Case Keenum, he's had a hell of a year, but the Steelers beat him up week 2. I think it was the Steelers home opener. Beat him up bad. I don't think he's a Super Bowl caliber quarterback either, so I don't think the 1 or 2 seed is going to make the Super Bowl. So I'm looking at the wild cards here, and being a betting man, if I was going to lay down a bet right now, it would be the Rams or the Falcons. The Falcons are the 6th seed, barely made the playoffs. The NFC South beat each other up all year. They are 3 in the playoffs. The Falcons, Saints, and Panthers. I like the Falcons. I think they can redeem themselves from last year if they beat the Rams. I think they can get back to the Super Bowl and maybe win it all. But I think the Rams are going to win. I'm taking the Rams in that game. I'm huge on the Rams. Matty B's Rams for the season. I love them. They're running the football, stopping the run. That's what wins championships. So I like the Rams. Todd Gurley, Georgia Bulldog. I like the Rams a lot. In the other game, Saints Panthers. I'm taking the Saints. Drew Brees. I'm not all in on Cam Newton. I never have been. I think the year they made the Super Bowl was kind of a fluke. A lot of those years they relied on a very, very good defense. They still have a pretty good defense, but Saints keep marching on, baby. They're going to march right on to the divisional round. And with the Rams and Saints winning, I'll have the Saints play Philly in Philadelphia, and the Rams are going to play Minnesota in Minnesota, obviously, because they're the 1 and 2 seeds in the divisional round. But I have the Saints beating Philly. No Carson Wentz, no win, no NFC Championship for the Philadelphia Eagles. Then I'm going to have the Rams beating the Vikings, and I'll have the Saints-Rams NFC Championship. Whereas right now I'm taking the Rams. I'm going to have a Steelers-Rams Super Bowl. That's what I'm taking right now for the Super Bowl. I'm going to have the Steelers being biased. I'm going to have them winning the Super Bowl now. Before the season, I had the Packers winning the Super Bowl, but I'm going to take the Steelers over the Rams. I think the Steelers have the team that can beat the Rams, but if I was a betting man, I would take Rams, Saints, or Falcons in the NFC, and Steelers and Patriots in the AFC. Those are your 5 teams that have a chance to win the Super Bowl, in my opinion. But it's going to be fun to see it play out. But I don't know. I think I just like the, I'm really biased, but I love the Steelers' chances. You got a lot of weapons on offense, solid defense. Everyone's playing a little better. But Steelers, Rams, those are my picks. So wanted to go through college and NFL football for the day. This is Jeff Meyer, Space Relaces. Check out Southbound Sports, Space Relaces podcast. Check me out on Twitter, Jeffrey_T_Meyer, MEIER, at S-Bound Sports on Twitter. You have the voicemail 1-412-330-1512. Check us out on, I'm pretty sure, Facebook Live, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I think we're doing stuff on Stitcher, one of the two. I'll have to look into that for next time. Sorry. Sound like an asshole for not knowing that off the top of my head. But hey, it's been fun. It's been real. This is Jeff here on Space Laces. Over and out.